Now, the diesel heater is currently around about a third of the way. I don't have it much more than that because it gets too warm. It's only a small area that it's heating. To turn it off, you press this center one. To turn it on, you press the wavy lines, and to have just a cold fan blowing, you press the fan button, and then that just adjusts, turning it round. It's blowing out, cook down here, you'll get the wind noise on it. Now that's been going for about an hour and a half. It's 0 outside. It was -4 this morning. So when I started it, but it's warmed up a bit now. And the temperature in here is 23.6. Kitchen sink area. There is not a glass top on here. The hinges are still here. And to buy a glass top for here is around about £75, £80. I've seen them on the internet. But I don't want one. I never wanted one. Simply because when you're using it as a worktop and you want to use the sink, you have to lift the whole lid up and it comes up across here. So you've basically lost your worktop. The old-fashioned type, where it had a wooden board that folded over, then you could still use your worktop and have your sink. But they've ceased doing those now in these moderner vans and put a glass top on. Of course, the glass top, what you have here is cupboards. And when you open the cupboards, when things fall out at the end of your journey, first thing they do is hit the glass top. As this cooker one is here, I always open this before I open that. The locker above the cab, where I keep my bed in, it's quite deep. Obviously goes the full size of the cab from side to side and goes down as a wedge shape. Plenty of space to store things, you know, round into the corners. So it makes for a nice little room. Any little bits and pieces that you see during my video, my personal items, these will all be taken down as a matter of interest for you. They're just in with a pin, so when the pin comes out they'll leave no mark. Come along, we've got blinds, everything works in the van. The blinds go up and the fly screen comes down. This is the TV cupboard. Well, if you've got a TV, I haven't got a TV. There is no aerial on the roof. The aerial is attached to here, goes into the wardrobe, and there's a wire wound up in a box on the other side of here. I've fitted a 12-volt socket. I play music, so I plug my music. I have my iPod station sits on here, and I use the power source there. Put a voltmeter in, so we can read the volts of how the leisure battery is doing. The leisure battery is an 85 amp, and it sits under the driver's seat. So this is obviously 240 when you plugged in. There's a 12 volt. So that's what some people call a TV table. I call it my music station. Then in the wardrobe, we've got a hanging wardrobe. And then down in the bottom we have the table in here. This is the smaller table of the two. It comes in and out very easy. This is the table I use all the time. And then down in the bottom, I've got my shopping bags here in a minute, but down in the bottom there is where we keep our shoes. And then dirty shoes, when we come in, we put dirty shoes under the passenger seat. This thing comes out. The back of the van, we have the two doors that open. I've put a mirror, a blackout on here, so that people can't see in. You can see out quite fine. On the control panel, when you're plugged in on electric, you have a battery charger. You can charge the habitation battery, which is obviously your 85 amp leisure battery under the driver's seat, or you can charge the vehicle battery, which is the main one outside that starts the engine. If you're on power hookup, you can charge the battery that way, and you can charge the battery that way. Otherwise it does nothing. You don't need to go to either one of those to get electric here. That's done by this master switch. So the master switch is on, and that's the power for the habitation area. You got the light switch and the water pump. I'm not going to put the water pump on because everything's drained at the moment for winter. That's the state of the battery, and it's dropped a little bit like that because the diesel heater is using some of its power. And then the water one, there's nothing in there because it's all drained out for the winter. Very small cupboard here, just for anything. I've got a fire extinguisher in here, but it's only 3 inches at best, going to nothing. You can just keep some bags in here, some rubbish bags and some bin bags and things like that, but it's not really very good for anything. The 2 main cupboards in the back of the van. Then we have a secondary cupboard next to it. The lighting in here, very good lighting on an evening. There is this one. There's one up here, which is number 2. Then there is one here, number 3. Then there's one here, number 4. And then there's one over here, number 5. Come on, switch on. And then, to cap it all off, when the seat's turned round, hang on, where are you? There. Number 6. That's a reading light for the passenger seat. And you obviously can use it either way, when you're sitting forward or when the seat's turned round. So there's all them lights, and on an evening that really does make it very light. On a daytime you've got this thing, a massive opening. It's the windy type, not the push up. So you wind this as far as you want it to go, or you wind it all the way, and it goes up from the back, and then remember to wind it down before you travel. This one here is a push up. I just crack that like that when I'm cooking. As the cooker is here, the gases from burning the gas through the hob, the carbon monoxide, can escape up there. So I do that when I'm cooking. Talking about carbon monoxide, here on this window is a little switch, little micro switch. When you open this window, it activates that switch. Now directly down, follow the van down. Now here on the outside is the flue vent for the hot water boiler. The hot water boiler is situated in this box here. I'll show you this in a minute. I'll lift this seat up. But when that hot water boiler is operating, you have to take the cover off of the exhaust exit outside, otherwise it will not work. And then when you've taken that cover off, the exhaust gases go out. Now if you open this window, the exhaust gases can now come in, the carbon monoxide can come in. So that switch will turn the boiler off. And it does work. I have actually done that myself. I forgot the boiler was on. So to turn the boiler on, it's this switch here. You simply turn it to the on position. The outer dial, the black dial, has got temperature settings, so you can set it for any temperature you like. I like it around 55-60 degrees centigrade hotness for washing dishes, etc. That is an intake vent there for the diesel heater, as the outlet is there, which I showed you earlier. And then there's the 240 volt hookup plug. So directly outside here, if you open that window, you will turn this boiler off. If that happens to you, the boiler will turn off and you will see a red light in there. There's normally a green one when it's working. If you see a red light, that's the boiler turned off. So you have to shut the window to close the switch. You then have to turn the heater off and then turn it back on again for it to reactivate. Okay, so under the seat, which just hinges up, we have the main water boiler. So you see it says 10 litres. Here we have the water pump, and here we have the diesel heater, which is currently running. Only quietly because I've got it set pretty low. I put a false floor in here. That tap you see there is the drain plug for dropping the boiler in winter. You simply move the switch one way or the tap, one way or another, and that lets the water drain out. But by putting a false floor in here, I've created another storage space, which I keep items I don't use very often in here. Electric kettle, because I don't usually go on electric hookup. But you see the diesel heater is running, well, you may be able to hear it. And if you have it on through the night, on low, you don't really hear it when you're laid in bed. It's very quiet. It's a very, very clever system. It certainly warms the van up. Now this other side of the settee, sofa, bed, whatever you want to call it, is other storage. I have the outside chairs in here, and I also keep my pots and pans. And you can access through this thing if you so wish. But I normally just lift. So I see what I can show you. There you go. That's it down again. So it's just a simple matter of lifting it up. This is the back, which makes the bed, which I'll show you that later. The swivel seat, passenger seat and driver seat, is a bit of a weird setup. The little orange lever here turns the seat. Release it and the seat turns. But for whatever reason, it won't go past there. So what you have to do, and I'm going to do this one-handed whilst holding the camera, so you might get a bit wobbly. You have to slide the seat forward as far as it will go, and now you can see there's room for turn the seat. But now what that means now is the seat is right out here. So now we need to put the seat back. And there's the seat back. Now to me that's kind of weird, because when I had the Autocruise Vista, it was the earlier cab than this, I got to admit. This is an 07 cab and the Autocruise Vista was an 02 cab, but the seat in the Vista just turned round, no trouble. But this one, for whatever reason, whether it's because it's got this massive big door arm here, because the Vista didn't have this and this cubby hole down here, and it also didn't have the folding down arm. So anyway, there's the seat in its turned round position. The driver's seat does the same. So the cooker, 3 burner. We have the ignition. Yeah, there you go. So that's 1 burner. I'm not going to be able to do the other ones because the ignition's over here and the 2 burners are here. My fingers won't reach that. So anyway, they all work the same, obviously. So we got a 3 ring. Then we have a grill. So the grill is the grill pan. Obviously the grill lights the same way. The grill is the one with the flames uppermost, and the oven is the one with the flames lower down. So I can now show you the oven. Yeah, there we go. I've managed to do that one-handed. So everything like that works in the van. The fridge, which is a 12 volt, 240 volt and gas. It runs on 12 volt. There, when you're driving. I've driven for an hour with a thermometer in the icebox and gone down to -5, -6 in an hour's journey with an empty fridge. So it certainly keeps your food cool on the road. On-site electric with thermostat, and then gas on-site with the thermostat and the igniter, the ignition igniter. So you put that on and you turn the gas and then hold it in, and when it fires that goes out, so you know it's lit. So that works like that. I've just been shopping. Anyway, so we got the little shelf at the top, then the big shelf, and then there's a room down there, then there's room in the door, and then there's the little shelf at the top, and then there's the ice box. So it's a conventional fridge that you always see and know, and it works very well. There's no problems with it. And then it's got its locking mechanism for when it's shut, and then obviously it's got the other lock when it's empty. to let the air flow come in. But at the moment it's shut because there's frozen food in there. We have the knife drawer, which is a smallish area there because it's got the sink, but the knife drawer looks bigger than it is. Extended, so I bring it right out so that this bit is behind me. I'm working here now and on here, so this bit is behind me and out the way. But when it goes back in, it finishes, makes it look smart. It's cupboard. I keep my kitchen bits and pieces in here. We're washing my kettle on this shelf. I have my rubbish bin down there. Under the oven we have more storage. Now in here we have all the gas knobs for turning. The top one's the oven, the middle one's the hot water, and the bottom one's the fridge. Now in here, behind me food, there's the RCD box with the trips for all the safety of these plugs. Behind it, on the back wall, is the hot water that immersion heater on when you're plugged in 240 for your hot water. So that's the switch right on the back wall. And then underneath this shelf is the battery charger. So it's got a false bottom, and you can take it out. There's a hole in the floor and you put your finger in and lift it, and that reveals the battery charger. Now when you're on site, the battery charger will run all your 12 volts. It takes nothing out of your leisure battery. You don't need to do anything up here unless you want to charge your leisure battery. Then you put it to habitation or vehicle battery, as I showed you earlier. But otherwise you just leave that on, that master on, you leave your pump and your lights on, and then everything is run 12 volt through the charger. The leisure battery, while we're talking about that, situated driver's seat. I'm going to spin you around, and I can't see what I'm doing here, so it's going to be a bit wobbly. Under here, there's your battery. So to get at that, you have to, if you need to change it, you need to, there's 4 of these, one on each corner, and the seat will lift off.